Well, it's a beautiful setting for a start. I mean, look at the scenery here behind us, it's amazing. I like the fact that it's a mature site. It's not open, there are a lot of trees and it's been cut among the trees and among the bushes. It's got a lot of character and a lot of variations. And what I think all good golf courses need is a little bit of wind. So we are here on the coast and there's always a nice breeze. So you have all of that, and then you put that together with the best wine in the world. Tuscan wine is my favorite wine. And one of the main reasons I wanted to come and visit was to play the golf, see the golf, but also enjoy the good food and the Tuscan wines.
So you don't like Irish beer?
Not as much as I like Tuscan wines. I mean, the Brunellas, they are my favorite wine in the whole world. Everywhere I go, when I go to a restaurant, I look to see if they have any Italian wines. I think you have the best food, you have the best wines, the most beautiful country. I love Italy. One of my favorite countries, if not my favorite country to visit in the world. Well, I say it because I travel the world and I commentate now and I watch the top players and obviously played at the top level. The game has become very one-dimensional, particularly when we go to America. There's very little wind, the courses are soft, the courses are long.
And large.
Yeah, big courses, and it's very much about hitting the ball from A to B. And the skill required is become less. It's more about power. It's more about hitting the ball from A to B. When we have wind, that makes the skill level increase. Only the really skillful players can win in the wind. Because you have to, if the wind is coming off the right with an iron shot, you have to bank the ball against the wind. If you're going into the wind, you have to hit it low. And it brings a lot of more variations into the game. So I really like the wind because I think it adds to the skill test of a golfer. Incredible 4 days. And what was very interesting about him was that he embraced the pressure, he embraced the crowd. He loved playing in front of his home crowd. He didn't see it as a burden. He saw it as fun. And that's the most important key to be successful. You see the challenge of the game as being fun. Not a difficulty and not a burden, it must be fun. When it's fun, that's when you do your best.
What do we have to do to get PGA Tour level for European Tour?
Well, I think we got that with our Rolex Series events. I mean, we've 8 events now on the European Tour, which have $7 million prize funds. Italian Open is one of them. This is a premier event now. It carries a lot of world rankings. It carries a huge amount of money. And we generally have very big crowds at these events. So we have done really well, and Rolex have been a big partner in that regard. You got to remember the market in America is so much bigger. So many more people in America play golf. And they also have a lot of tax regulations over there that are very favorable to businesses to get involved with the PGA Tour. They have a status that's exempt of a lot of taxes. We don't so much have that in Europe. So I think we do well. And I think the future of the game at the very elite level will probably go along the lines of an alignment between America and Europe and creating more of a world tour. I think that's kind of be the future within the next, I guess, in the next 10 years. I think that's what a lot of people think will happen, and I'd be one of those people who believe that. I think Italian Open, I think it's a very good date this year because the FedEx is finishing and all the players who play on the PGA Tour will have finished in August. So I think we're going to get a lot of players coming over, some Americans too, to come and play the big events on the European Tour in September, October, November. And obviously Italian Open is one of the very biggest one of those. So I think it's going to work very much in the favour of the Italian Open in terms of a really good quality field. Well, obviously all very good players and all having a lot of success to see them coming through. But when I see a country having success and I see a number of players coming onto the tour, I always look behind to see why. And it seems to be at amateur level, in boys and girls at junior level, you have some very good structures in place. The Federation do a very good job at junior level because you have success at amateur level in boys and girls, and that is now permeating through into the professional ladies tour and the professional men's tour. So it's no surprise. And the Italian players have always been very talented, always very flair, always a lot of passion. And the goal for these guys, the guys that you mentioned, you know, Guido is having a great success, Pavan, You know, Molinaris, we know Molinaris. I think the goal for them must be 2022 and playing the Ryder Cup in their home country. I think it should be an amazing goal for all of them and a very realistic goal. So they should be thinking and plotting towards that and making sure they make that team. One of the things to be a good Ryder Cup player is you must have a lot of passion and you must have a feel for sport and an affinity with the people you are playing with. You must be very passionate about it. When I was a younger boy, like a lot of Italians, I played a lot of football.
And hurling too.
And hurling too, yeah. And I was part of a team and I really enjoyed that. And when I come through and then when I make the Ryder Cup team, I think that really stood to me. I enjoyed being part of a team. I didn't have a mindset of an individual from a very early age. I also had a combination. So that's why it's very important that young boys and girls at a young age, they don't just play golf. They play lots of other sports as well. It's very important to play other sports because in the long term that will help you progress in your golf. And what have I learned most about it? It's fun. You know, the difference between being a captain and the difference between playing is very, very different. When you are playing, you are very focused on yourself, you're very focused on playing and your teammates and your partner. And when you win, it's like an explosion, like scoring a goal in a World Cup final. It's an amazing feeling. When you are a captain, you have a lot of responsibility. So you're not just thinking in one dimension, you're thinking of all 12 players and all the 12 caddies and all the coaches and all the families. And you're thinking of so many people all together. It's quite a complex job being a captain. And the real key is to try to simplify that and try to make it simple, and then you relate that to the players. I think of the bonding and the affinity with the other players on the team. The relationships that we created, the captains that we played under, the bonding that we all had as part of Europe. The fact that we were playing against America, who were the favourites and everybody expected them to win. So when I meet the players that I played Ryder Cup with 15 years ago, there's an affinity, there is a bond that lasts forever. It's the same, I'm sure, with soccer teams, Italian teams that have won the World Cup. You know, when they meet each other, even though they might have seen each other for 5 years, the minute they see each other, boom, it's like this because they shared a wonderful experience together. And that's what Ryder Cup does. And that's what would be so special for an Italian player making the Ryder Cup team in 2022 in their home country. I was very fortunate also to play a Ryder Cup in Ireland, in the K Club in 2006. What an amazing experience to play such an elite event in front of your home crowd. It was amazing. I think we got a great chance of winning the Ryder Cup next year. I think our team is going to be excellent. We've never had such talent in Europe as we do at the moment. And also the golf course in America, I think, will suit us. Moving forward to Italy in the next 3 years, I know there's a lot of changes going on at the golf course and Marco Simone. I know the European Tour are very happy with the work that is going on there. And I think it's going to be amazing. When you put it together of playing in an iconic city like Rome, this is going to be amazing. I mean, we're going to broadcast this around the world. One of the biggest sporting events in the world, one of the most watched sporting events in the world, the opening ceremony, all the things that are going to go on, I think is just going to be so fantastic for Italy, and it's going to hopefully ignite a lot more talent coming through, boys and girls, in Italian golf. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge. Every captain sees things differently, and every captain does things as he sees differently. For me, I had a very good team. We were playing at home. And the idea was to do all the statistics and do all the preparation, but then take all of this and move it into something simple and communicate that to the players and make sure the players have clarity in what their role is, but most important that they are passionate and they're united together. That's the most important thing. The players win Ryder Cups. The captain can be as good as you want, but the players ultimately win it. So my job was to create a platform for the players to go and play their best golf, and that's what I try to do more than anything else. I really do think we're going to have a great chance. I think we have an amazing talent at the moment in Europe, the best we've ever had.
Really the best?
Yeah, I think this is the best from 1 to 12. I think this is the strongest talent. I think the team that we put out in France last year was the best team Europe ever had, from 1 to 12. You know, we've had back in the 90s, you know, we might have had 6 brilliant world-class players. and then 6 that maybe weren't to the standard. But now, from 1 to 12, we are so strong, we have no weakness. So I think to trust the 12 players to win. We don't have to rely. Back in the 90s and 80s, we used to win Ryder Cups by relying on Sevi and Gemma and Woosnam and Langer and Faldo, relying on these guys to play all of the games. Now we have such strong depth from 1 to 12 that we can win with 12 players, and we can rest these players and bring the other guys in because they're so good. So I think we are in a really good, we've got a really good chance of winning. It's always difficult to win away from home. Very, very difficult to win away from home. But like I said earlier, the most important thing is to have fun with the challenge. It must be fun. It mustn't be like, oh, we have to win. It has to be fun, by all means passionate, but you must have fun in approaching such a monumental task of trying to win a Ryder Cup away from home.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Francesco Molinari.
Before the Ryder Cup in France, have you ever think about Molinari and Fleetwood 4-on-4 and Molinari 5-on-5?
No, but both of them are wonderful players. Both of them are great players. And Thomas Bjorn deserves a lot of credit for putting them together. Now, sometimes the statistics puts it together, sometimes it's instinct. I don't know where he got his inspiration for with that partnership, but that worked very well. But just because it worked well in one Ryder Cup, what we've seen in the past, that doesn't always mean every Ryder Cup they will be a great partnership together. You know, we've seen Woosnam and Faldo play together in one Ryder Cup, win all the games, be amazing, and then next Ryder Cup, you know. So in that instance, it was a perfect collision. They paired very well together. But remember, they are two marked men in the next Ryder Cup. The Americans know that these guys are really strong, and it will be a lot more difficult for them in the next one. So it will be interesting to see what Poddick does with regards to that.